The vast emptiness of space stretched out before Admiral Daho's eyes. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Star Chaser, watching the stars twinkle in the distance. The Admiral's face was stern, his eyes sharp as he scanned the view screen. "Status report," Daho called out, his voice firm but calm. A young officer named Yunjai looked up from her console. "All systems normal, Admiral. The fleet is in formation and ready for patrol." Daho nodded, satisfied. His fleet of 20 ships was the pride of the Galactic Council. They had been tasked with patrolling the outer rim of Council space, keeping an eye out for any threats or unusual activity. For hours, the patrol was quiet and uneventful. The crew went about their duties, checking sensors and running routine scans. But then, something changed. "Admiral," Yunjai called out suddenly, her voice filled with urgency. "We're detecting an unknown signature entering our space." Daho's eyes narrowed. "Show me," he ordered. The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a star map of the local sector. A large, pulsing red dot appeared at the edge of the screen, moving steadily towards their position. "What is it?" Daho asked, leaning forward for a better look. Yunji's fingers flew over her console as she analyzed the data. It's massive, sir. Bigger than anything in our database, and the energy readings are off the charts." The bridge crew held their breath, watching as the red dot grew closer. Suddenly, a flash of light burst across the view screen, momentarily blinding everyone. When their vision cleared, they saw it. Emerging from what looked like a tear in space itself was a ship. But calling it just a ship didn't do it justice. It was a behemoth, a floating city of metal and light. Its hull gleamed with a material they had never seen before, seeming to absorb and reflect starlight at the same time. "By the stars," Daho whispered, his eyes wide with awe and a hint of fear. The mysterious ship dwarfed Daho's entire fleet. Its sleek design spoke of advanced technology, with smooth lines and glowing energy conduits visible along its hull. At its front, a massive cannon was mounted, currently powered down but still intimidating. "Sir," Yunji's voice quivered slightly, "we're receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel." Daho straightened his uniform, trying to compose himself. "Put it through," he ordered. The view screen changed, showing the bridge of the massive ship. Standing at its center was a human woman, her posture confident and her gaze steady. She wore a crisp uniform adorned with unfamiliar insignias. "Greetings," the woman said, her voice clear and strong. "I am Captain Jisoo of the Earth Federation warship Thunderbolt. We come in peace and wish to establish contact with your civilization." Murmurs of surprise rippled through Daho's crew. Humans? They had heard rumors of this species, but never encountered them before. And now, here they were, piloting a ship that made their entire fleet look like toys. Daho stepped forward, his voice steady despite his inner turmoil. "This is Admiral Daho of the Galactic Council Defense Fleet. Your presence here is unexpected. Please state your intentions." Captain Jisoo nodded respectfully. "We are on a mission of exploration and peaceful contact. Our sensors detected your civilization, and we hope to open diplomatic relations." As they spoke, Daho noticed his tactical officer, Min-Soo, frantically working at his station. The young man's face had gone pale. "Admiral," Min-Soo whispered urgently, "I've been scanning their ship. Its defensive capabilities. They're beyond anything we've ever seen. And that cannon, it has enough power to—" Min-Soo trailed off, unable to finish the thought. But Daho understood. This single ship could potentially destroy his entire fleet. Turning back to the screen, Daho studied Captain Jisoo carefully. Her words were peaceful, but the ship she commanded was clearly built for war. A bead of sweat rolled down his forehead as he realized the precarious situation they were in. "Captain Jisoo," Daho said, choosing his words carefully, "your arrival is—" Most unexpected. Perhaps we should discuss this further. Would you be willing to come aboard my ship for talks? Jisoo smiled, but there was a hint of caution in her eyes. That's a kind offer, Admiral. However, given the delicate nature of first contact, I propose we continue our discussion via this channel for now. I assure you, our intentions are purely peaceful. As Daeho considered his response, he couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. The galaxy as they knew it would never be the same again. And it all hinged on what happened next between his fleet and this incredible human warship. The tension on the bridge of the Star Chaser was thick enough to cut with a knife. Admiral Daeho stood still, his eyes fixed on the image of Captain Jisoo on the view screen. The human's calm demeanor both impressed and unnerved him. Captain Jisoo, Daeho said, trying to keep his voice steady, while we appreciate your peaceful intentions, you must understand our concern. Your ship's capabilities are unlike anything we've encountered before. Jisoo nodded, her expression understanding. I assure you, Admiral, the Thunderbolt's advanced technology is not a threat to you. We're here to learn and share knowledge. As they spoke, Yeonji, the young officer at the sensors, noticed something odd. The Thunderbolt was emitting a strange energy signature. She leaned in closer to her console, trying to make sense of the readings. Admiral, Yeonji called out, her voice tinged with worry. The human ship is scanning us. Daeho's head snapped towards Yeonji. What kind of scan? Before Yeonji could answer, alarms began blaring across the bridge. Red lights flashed, casting an eerie glow over the frightened faces of the crew. Min-soo, the tactical officer, shouted in panic. Sir, their weapon systems are powering up. They're locking onto us. Daeho's mind raced. Had this all been a trick? Were the humans planning to attack all along? He couldn't take that chance. Shields up, Daeho roared. All ships, battle stations. On the view screen, Captain Jisoo's eyes widened in surprise. Admiral, wait, there's been a misunderstanding. But Daeho cut the transmission. He couldn't risk being swayed by what might be lies. Sir, Min-soo said, his voice shaking. What are your orders? Daeho took a deep breath. The decision weighed heavily on him, but he saw no other choice. We can't let them strike first. All ships, open fire. Across the Galactic Council fleet, weapons charged and fired. Beams of energy and volleys of missiles streaked across space towards the Thunderbolt. On the bridge of the human warship, alarms blared as the incoming attack was detected. Captain Jisoo's calm demeanor shifted to one of focused determination. Defensive systems online, her AI assistant reported. Shall I return fire, Captain? Jisoo shook her head. No, shields only. Let's show them what we can do without harming them. The crew of the Star Chaser watched in awe and horror as their attack reached the Thunderbolt. They expected to see explosions, damage to the massive ship's hull. Instead, a shimmering blue field flickered into existence around the human vessel. Every shot, every missile, simply dissipated against this impenetrable barrier. Impossible, Daeho whispered, his face pale. Yeonji's voice trembled as she reported. Sir, our attacks, they're having no effect. The human ship's shields are absorbing everything we throw at it. On the Thunderbolt, Captain Jisoo stood calmly amidst the chaos. Open a channel to the alien fleet, she ordered. The face of Admiral Daeho appeared on her screen once more. The alien leader's composure had cracked, fear and confusion evident in his eyes. Admiral, Jisoo said firmly, I urge you to cease fire. This is all a misunderstanding. The scan we performed was a standard protocol, not a weapon lock. We have no intention of harming you or your fleet. Daeho's mind reeled. The humans had easily deflected their strongest attack, yet they weren't retaliating. Could they truly be peaceful? How? How can we trust you? Daeho asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Jisoo's expression softened. Because if we wanted to attack you, Admiral, this battle would already be over. Please, let's talk this through. There's no need for further violence." As if to emphasize her point, the Thunderbolt's shields pulsed once, releasing a wave of harmless energy that washed over the alien fleet. In its wake, every weapon system on Daho's ships suddenly powered down. Gasps of shock echoed across the Star Chaser's bridge. Min Su stared at his console in disbelief. "Admiral, they've disabled all our weapons without damaging them. I've never seen technology like this." Daho slumped in his chair, the fight draining out of him. He realized now how badly he had misjudged the situation. These humans, with their incredible ship, could have destroyed them at any moment. Instead, they had shown restraint and mercy. "Captain Jisoo," Daho said, his voice heavy with regret. I believe we owe you an apology, and perhaps a long conversation." Jisoo smiled warmly. "Apology accepted, Admiral. Now shall we start over? I believe we have much to discuss about the future of our peoples." As the tension began to ease, both human and alien crews realized they stood at the dawn of a new era. The first contact had been rocky, but perhaps now they could build something remarkable together. Captain Jisoo stood tall on the bridge of the Thunderbolt, her eyes fixed on the alien fleet displayed on the main screen. The initial attack had been deflected, but she knew the situation was far from resolved. It was time to show these aliens what a human warship could really do. "All hands, battle stations," Jisoo commanded, her voice calm but firm. "Activate the harmony system." Her crew sprang into action, their movements precise and practiced. At the weapons console, Lieutenant Kim tapped a series of commands. "Harmony system online, Captain," he reported. Jisoo nodded. Harmony was the nickname for the Thunderbolt's advanced AI combat system. It could analyze and respond to threats faster than any human operator. "Harmony," Jisoo addressed the AI. "Execute non-lethal countermeasures. Disable their ships without causing harm to the crew." A soft, melodic voice responded. "Understood, Captain." Initiating precision counterattack. On the alien flagship Star Chaser, Admiral Daho watched in growing alarm as the Thunderbolt began to move. Its massive form glided through space with impossible grace for a ship of its size. "Sir," Yunjai called out, her voice filled with awe and fear, "the human ship it's targeting us. But these energy readings, I've never seen anything like it." Before Daho could respond, the Thunderbolt sprang into action. Beams of shimmering energy lanced out from various points on its hull, each one striking an alien ship with pinpoint accuracy. But instead of explosions or damage, each beam seemed to pass through the ships harmlessly. "Report," Daho demanded, his eyes wide as he watched his fleet being systematically targeted. Min Su's fingers flew over his console, his face a mask of confusion. "Sir, they're not destroying us. But our ships are losing power, weapons, engines, even life support. Everything's being shut down one by one." On the Thunderbolt, Jisoo watched the operation unfold with a mix of pride and sadness. She had hoped for a peaceful first contact, but now she had to demonstrate why picking a fight with humans was a bad idea. "Harmony," she said. "Status report." The AI's calm voice filled the bridge. 15 out of 20 alien vessels have been successfully disabled. Estimated time to complete disarmament of the fleet, 45 seconds. Jisoo nodded. "Good. Prepare a wideband transmission. It's time we explained ourselves to our new friends." Back on the Star Chaser, chaos reigned. Ship after ship in the alien fleet went dark, their systems shut down by the Thunderbolt's mysterious beams. Daho felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead as he realized the full extent of their mistake. "Admiral," Yunji shouted over the din of alarms, "we're being hailed by the human ship." Daho swallowed hard. "On screen," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Captain Jisoo's face appeared once more, her expression stern but not unkind. "Admiral Daho," she began, "I hope now you understand the futility of your attack. We could have destroyed your fleet, but that is not our way. Instead, we have merely disabled your ships. Your crews are unharmed, though I imagine they're quite confused right now." Daho could only nod, words failing him in the face of such overwhelming power. Jisoo continued, "What you've witnessed is but a fraction of our capabilities. The Thunderbolt is equipped with technology far beyond anything you've encountered. Our Harmony AI system can analyze and counter any threat in milliseconds, but we use this power for defense, not conquest." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We came here in peace, seeking new allies and friends among the stars. That offer still stands, Admiral. We bear you no ill will for your misguided attack. Instead, we offer you a chance to start anew, to learn from each other and grow together." As Jisoo spoke, the crew of the Star Chaser listened in stunned silence. The realization of how close they had come to disaster, and how merciful these humans had been, began to dawn on them. Daho found his voice at last. "Captain Jisoo," he said, his tone filled with a mix of fear and respect. "On behalf of the Galactic Council, I accept your offer of peace, and I humbly apologize for our actions. We clearly have much to learn about your people." Jisoo's stern expression softened into a smile. "Apology accepted, Admiral. Now shall we begin again? There's a vast galaxy out there, and I believe humans and your people could explore it together as friends." As the tension on both ships began to ease, a new sense of wonder and possibility filled the air. The first contact had been rocky, but from this moment of crisis, a new era of cooperation and mutual understanding was about to be born. Lieutenant Sung-min stood at his post on the bridge of the alien cruiser Starlight Voyager, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and wonder. The massive human warship Thunderbolt loomed before them, its sleek hull gleaming in the starlight. Sung-min had never seen anything like it in all his years of space exploration. "Lieutenant," called out his captain, a grizzled veteran named Jawa, "what's our status?" Sung-min swallowed hard before responding. "Captain, our main systems are offline. Weapons, engines, even our long-range communications. The humans, they shut everything down without firing a single destructive shot." Captain Jawa's face was grim, and the rest of the fleet. "The same, sir," Sung-min replied, checking his readouts. "All 20 ships have been disabled. But our life support systems are still functioning perfectly." The bridge crew exchanged looks of disbelief. They had attacked this lone human ship with everything they had, and in return, the humans had neutralized their entire fleet without causing a single casualty. "It's impossible," muttered the ship's engineer, Yoon Seo. "The precision required to disable our systems like this, it's beyond anything we've ever seen." As they spoke, the main view screen flickered to life. The face of Admiral Daho appeared, his expression a mix of humility and awe. "This is Admiral Daho to all ships," he began, his voice slightly shaky. "Stand down all remaining systems. The humans have agreed to peaceful talks. They mean us no harm." A collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge of the Starlight Voyager, but for Sung-min, relief was quickly replaced by burning curiosity. "Captain," he said, turning to Jawa, "permission to access the sensor logs. I want to analyze what just happened." Jawa nodded, a spark of interest in his eyes. "Granted, Lieutenant. Let's see what we can learn from this humbling experience." Sung-min hurried to the science station, his fingers flying over the controls. As he pored over the data, his eyes grew wider and wider. This is incredible," he breathed. "Captain, you need to see this." The bridge crew gathered around Sung-min's station as he brought up a holographic display of the Thunderbolt. "Look here," Sung-min pointed to various parts of the human ship. "Their energy management is like nothing we've ever encountered. They can redirect power instantly to any system. And here, these are some kind of adaptive shielding. It morphs in response to different types of attacks. Yun-Seo leaned in, her eyes sparkling with professional admiration. And their weapons, they're not just for destruction. They can be tuned to target specific systems with surgical precision. It's beautiful engineering. As they marveled at the display, a new transmission came through. This time, it was Captain Ji-Soo of the Thunderbolt. "Greetings, ships of the Galactic Council," she said, her voice warm and friendly. "We apologize for the drastic measures we had to take. As a gesture of goodwill, we will now restore power to your vessels. Please understand this is a sign of trust on our part." True to her word, systems across the alien fleet began to power up. Lights flickered on, engines hummed to life, and sensor readings returned to normal. But for the crew of the Starlight Voyager, and indeed for many across the fleet, things would never truly return to normal. They had witnessed something that changed their understanding of the universe. Lieutenant Sung-min, Captain Jae-hwa said, his voice thoughtful, "Prepare a full report on the human ship's capabilities. I have a feeling the Council will be very interested in what we've learned today." Sung-min nodded eagerly. "Yes, sir. But, sir, do you think they'll share their knowledge with us? The things we could learn?" Jae-hwa smiled, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "That, Lieutenant, is what diplomacy is for, and I have a feeling we're about to enter a new era of galactic politics." As the alien fleet regrouped, preparing for the upcoming diplomatic talks, a sense of excitement began to replace the earlier fear. They had set out to defend their territory, and instead found something far more valuable. A potential ally with technology beyond their wildest dreams. The crew of the Starlight Voyager, like many others in the fleet, found themselves looking at the Thunderbolt not with fear, but with respect and curiosity. They had come face to face with humanity's might, and in doing so, discovered a new hope for the future of their civilization. Captain Ji-Soo stood at the center of the Thunderbolt's bridge, her posture relaxed but alert. The initial crisis had passed, but she knew the real work was just beginning. Around her, the crew worked quietly at their stations, monitoring the alien fleet. "Harmony," Ji-Soo called out to the ship's AI. "Give me a status update on the alien vessels." The AI's melodic voice filled the bridge. "All 20 alien ships have had their systems restored. Their weapons remain offline as a precaution. No signs of hostile intent detected." Ji-Soo nodded, satisfied. "Good. Now, let's show them what we can really do. Prepare for a demonstration of our capabilities." Lieutenant Kim looked up from his console, excitement gleaming in his eyes. "What did you have in mind, Captain?" A small smile played on Ji-Soo's lips. "Let's give them a show they'll never forget." On the bridge of the Star Chaser, Admiral Daho and his crew watched in awe as the Thunderbolt began to move. Its massive form glided through space with impossible grace, as if it were dancing among the stars. "Sir," Eun-Jae called out, her voice filled with wonder, "the human ship is changing." Before their eyes, sections of the Thunderbolt's hull began to shift and reconfigure. Panels slid open, revealing an array of devices and instruments that the aliens could scarcely comprehend. "What are they doing?" Daho whispered, his eyes wide. His question was soon answered as the Thunderbolt sprang into action. Beams of light shot out from various points on its hull, each one a different color. But instead of weapons fire, these beams began to interact with the space around them in fascinating ways. One beam created a small localized wormhole, demonstrating the human's mastery over space-time. Another beam collected cosmic radiation and converted it into pure energy, which the Thunderbolt absorbed effortlessly. A third beam projected a holographic display of Earth's solar system, showing the aliens a glimpse of humanity's home. On the Starlight Voyager, Lieutenant Sung-min was frantically recording every detail of the display. "It's incredible," he muttered, his fingers flying over his console. "Their technology, it's like magic." Captain Jaehua nodded, his earlier fear replaced by a sense of awe. No, Lieutenant. Not magic. Just science so advanced it seems impossible to us. As the alien fleet watched in amazement, the Thunderbolt's demonstration continued. The ship created force fields of various shapes and sizes, manipulated gravity wells, and even demonstrated a short-range teleportation capability. Back on the Thunderbolt, Captain Jisoo watched the aliens' reactions on her view screens. She could see the fear and hostility melting away, replaced by curiosity and wonder. It was exactly what she had hoped for. Harmony, Jisoo said, prepare to open a channel to the entire alien fleet. It's time we extended the hand of friendship properly. As the AI acknowledged her command, Jisoo took a deep breath. This was the moment that would define humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization. The weight of that responsibility sat heavily on her shoulders, but she felt ready for the challenge. The main view screen flickered to life, showing the faces of various alien captains, with Admiral Daho at the center. Jisoo straightened her uniform and smiled warmly. "Greetings, friends," she began, her voice calm and friendly. "I hope our little demonstration has helped you understand us better. We came here not as conquerors, but as explorers and potential allies. The technology you've witnessed is but a fraction of what we're willing to share with peaceful civilizations across the galaxy." She paused, letting her words sink in. The aliens' expressions were a mix of awe, hope, and lingering caution. "We understand that our arrival was unexpected and perhaps frightening," Jisoo continued. "But now that we've moved past our initial misunderstanding, we hope you'll join us in looking towards a brighter future. A future where our civilizations can learn from each other, trade knowledge and resources, and explore the wonders of the universe together." On the Star Chaser, Admiral Daho felt a surge of emotion. The humans' power was undeniable, yet they offered peace and cooperation instead of dominance. It was a humbling moment. "Captain Jisoo," Daho said, his voice filled with newfound respect. "On behalf of the Galactic Council, I accept your offer of friendship. We have much to learn from you, and hopefully you'll find value in our knowledge as well." As words of agreement echoed from the other alien ships, a sense of history in the making filled the air. The first contact had been rocky, but from this moment of understanding, a new chapter in galactic history was about to unfold. Jisoo's smile widened. "Then let this be the beginning of a long and prosperous relationship between our peoples. Together, we'll reach for the stars and beyond." The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with excitement and nervous energy. Delegates from various alien races filled the room, their voices a mix of different languages and tones. At the center of it all stood Admiral Daho, his posture straight, but his eyes betraying a hint of weariness. "Order, please," called out the council leader, a tall, slender alien named Zora. The room gradually fell silent. "Admiral Daho, you may begin your report." Daho stepped forward, clearing his throat. "Esteemed members of the council, I come before you today to report on an encounter that will change the course of our history." He gestured, and a holographic image of the Thunderbolt appeared above the center of the room. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the audience. "This," Daho continued, "is the human warship Thunderbolt. Our first contact with the species known as humans did not go as planned, but the outcome was enlightening." As Daho recounted the events, the hologram shifted, showing scenes from the encounter. The council members watched in awe as they saw the Thunderbolt effortlessly disable the alien fleet, then demonstrate technology beyond their comprehension. "The humans showed us power we've never seen before," Daho said, his voice filled with a mix of humility and admiration. "But more importantly, they showed us mercy and wisdom." In the back of the room, Lieutenant Sung-min stood nervously. He had been called to present his findings on the human ship's capabilities. As Daho finished his account, Zora called Sung-min forward. "Lieutenant, you've analyzed the data from this encounter. What can you tell us about human technology?" Sung Min swallowed hard, then began to speak. His initial nervousness faded as he delved into the subject that had fascinated him since the encounter. Council members, the human ship Thunderbolt represents a level of technology far beyond our current understanding. Their energy management systems alone could revolutionize our approach to space travel. Their weapons can disable without destroying, showing a level of precision we've never achieved. He brought up detailed schematics on the hologram, pointing out various features of the Thunderbolt. Their shielding technology adapts to different types of attacks in real time, and their AI system, which they call Harmony, can process and respond to threats faster than any organic being. The council members listened intently, their expressions a mix of awe and concern. One delegate raised a hand. "Are you saying these humans could easily defeat us in battle?" Sung Min nodded gravely. "Based on what we've seen, yes. But that's not the most important point. The humans could have destroyed us, but they chose peace. They offered to share their knowledge with us." This statement caused another round of murmurs among the council. Zara raised a hand for silence. "And what do you think this means for our civilization, Lieutenant?" Sung Min took a deep breath before answering. "I believe it means we're on the brink of a new era. The humans' technology could help us solve problems we've struggled with for generations. Their approach to space exploration could open up new frontiers for us. But more than that, their philosophy, their willingness to extend friendship even after being attacked, that could change how we view the galaxy and our place in it." As Sung Min finished speaking, a thoughtful silence fell over the room. The council members looked at each other, the weight of this realization settling on them. Zara spoke up, her voice calm but filled with purpose. "It seems we have much to consider. This encounter has shown us that we are not alone in the universe, and perhaps not as advanced as we thought. But it has also shown us a path forward, a chance to grow and learn." She turned to Admiral Daho. "Admiral, you've had the most direct contact with these humans. What do you recommend as our next step?" Daho stood tall, his earlier weariness replaced by determination. "I recommend we accept the humans' offer of friendship and knowledge exchange. We have much to learn from them, and perhaps they can learn from us as well. This is an opportunity we cannot afford to miss." Zara nodded, then addressed the entire council. "We stand at a crossroads, my friends. The arrival of the humans challenges much of what we thought we knew. But it also offers us a chance to expand our understanding of the universe. Let us embrace this opportunity with open minds and hopeful hearts." As the council began to discuss the specifics of how to proceed, there was a sense of excitement in the air. The galaxy as they knew it had changed forever, and a new chapter in their history was about to begin. The grand meeting hall aboard the Thunderbolt buzzed with anticipation. On one side stood Captain Jisoo and her crew, their postures relaxed but alert. On the other, Admiral Daho led a delegation from the Galactic Council, their eyes wide as they took in the advanced technology surrounding them. Jisoo stepped forward, a warm smile on her face. "Welcome aboard the Thunderbolt, friends. We're honored to host this historic meeting." Daho bowed slightly, a gesture he had learned was respectful in human culture. "The honor is ours, Captain. Your invitation to meet on your ship is most generous." As the two leaders shook hands, a ripple of excitement passed through both groups. This simple gesture symbolized the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. "Please, let's be seated," Jisoo said, gesturing to a large, circular table. "We have much to discuss." As everyone took their places, holographic displays sprang to life around the table, showing star maps, technological schematics, and cultural information from both civilizations. "Before we begin formal talks," Jisoo said, "I want to express again how glad we are that our misunderstanding led to friendship rather than conflict. We humans have a saying, every cloud has a silver lining. It means good can come from difficult situations." Daho nodded, his expression thoughtful. "We have a similar saying. It translates roughly to even the hardest rock can birth a precious gem. I believe our encounter has indeed produced something precious. With the ice broken, the two groups began to discuss the details of their new relationship. They talked about technology exchange programs, cultural missions, and joint space exploration projects. Lieutenant Sung Min, part of the alien delegation, couldn't contain his excitement. "Captain Jisoo," he said, his voice eager, "your ship's AI system, Harmony. Could you tell us more about it?" Jisoo smiled at his enthusiasm. "Of course. Harmony, would you like to introduce yourself?" The AI's melodic voice filled the room. "Greetings, honored delegates. I am Harmony, the artificial intelligence that assists in the operation of the Thunderbolt. I'm pleased to meet you all." The alien delegates looked around in wonder, still amazed by the advanced AI. Sung Min had 1,000 questions, but Daeho gently reminded him they had time for all that later. As the meeting progressed, both sides shared stories of their civilization's histories, their achievements, and their challenges. They found many differences, but also surprising similarities. "It seems," Daeho said at one point, "that despite coming from different corners of the galaxy, we share a common curiosity about the universe and a desire to explore it." Jisoo nodded in agreement. "That's what we hope to find when we set out on this mission. Not just new worlds, but new friends to explore them with." As the formal talks wrapped up, both sides felt a sense of accomplishment. They had laid the groundwork for a partnership that could benefit both civilizations for generations to come. "There's one more thing," Jisoo said as they all stood up. "We'd like to invite a delegation from the Galactic Council to visit Earth. We believe it's important for our peoples to meet face to face, to truly understand each other." Daeho's eyes widened in surprise and joy. "We would be honored, Captain. And in return, we extend an invitation for a human delegation to visit our homeworlds." As the alien delegates prepared to return to their ships, there was a palpable sense of excitement in the air. The galaxy suddenly seemed a bit smaller, a bit friendlier, and full of new possibilities. Back on the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Jisoo watched the alien ships depart. Her first officer, Commander Lee, stood beside her. "Well, Captain," Lee said with a smile, "I'd say our first official diplomatic mission was a success." Jisoo nodded, her eyes on the stars beyond. "It's a good start, Commander, but we have a long and exciting journey ahead of us. The galaxy is vast, and we've only just begun to explore it." As the Thunderbolt prepared to depart for its next mission, both humans and aliens looked to the future with hope and curiosity. They had taken their first steps into a larger universe, one where cooperation and understanding could overcome fear and misunderstanding. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter that day, as if celebrating the new friendship forged between two civilizations. It was indeed the dawn of a new era, not just for humanity or the Galactic Council, but for the entire galaxy.